Hey guys, today in this video tutorial we will see how to create a basic Java web application and how to deploy that Java web application on AWS using the Elastic Beanstalk service of AWS. So I am logged in into the AWS console and I am in the North Virginia region. So this is the AWS Elastic Beanstalk service we are talking about. So let's talk about some basic detail of this service, what it is, and why should we use this. So whenever you create a Java web application, uh, to host that application, you need some infrastructure, right? You would need a machine. On that machine, you would need to install the JDK. Then you have to install the web container like Apache Tomcat or any other application server like WebLogic or JBoss, um, whatever. So, and you have to maintain all those stuffs. You have to install, you have to upgrade, and all those stuffs, right? And you have to run that application on top of those application servers, right? So you can definitely install these kind of servers on your local to run your application, to test your applications, but you cannot host your uh, applications permanently on your local machine, right? For that you have to get all those infrastructure from some of the hosting providers. Okay, so AWS is a kind of the hosting provider, you can say, where it provides all the infrastructure needed to run the Java web application. It also provide for other platform like PHP and all that, but here in this video tutorial we will only talk about Java web application. So AWS Elastic Beanstalk is a kind of the platform as a service which provide all the infrastructure like machine, JDK, um, then Tomcat, and all of those stuffs. We just have to develop the web application and we have to uh, deploy that application on AWS. So AWS, whenever we deploy the application on AWS, it will give some URL, and through that URL we can access that application. Okay, so let's start it over. So the first thing is like what we will do is we will create some simple Java web application in Eclipse. Then we will test that web application on our local Tomcat server. Once that is tested, we will deploy that application on AWS. So let me create some the basic web application. So what we will do over here, we will here first of all, before starting, you would need one set up your development environment, and I added all those steps in this blog, and I'm sharing this blog URL in this video description as well. So before you start, make sure you have all those things installed on your local machine. So we would need JDK8, Eclipse, um, and Eclipse plugin for AWS. So I already installed these steps, so I'm skipping these steps. So let's create a basic Java web application. So here what whenever we try to, after installing the AWS plugin, whenever we try to create a Java web application, it will display this option, AWS Java web project. But we are not going with this um, for creating a Java web application, because this I found so many issues with this plugin. So we are not going to use this plugin to create the web application, but definitely we will create the servers using the AWS plugin. So what we'll do here, um, we will create a dynamic web application over here. If you see, okay, or maybe I can create a dynamic. Yeah, this is the Eclipse Java Enterprise Edition, so it will definitely uh, see the option dynamic web project. Okay, or I can do web, filter it out, web project. So we are going to create dynamic web project. Okay, I will name the application app simple web app. Here I already have the Apache Tomcat 8. So uh, if you want to create on your local, what you can do, you can download this Tomcat link, this one, the Tomcat zip file. You can extract it on your local. You can do new runtime and you can create this one. Okay, we are currently we are using version 8. So I'm clicking next. Next, we will keep the directory name as it is, finish. So let me check the property of this. If you see project packets, this must be there. Make sure you have dynamic web module 3.0 or 3.1 in Java 1.8 selected. Here, if you see, we will create one simple JSP file, index.jsp, and in that we will write some, this JSP is being served from AWS. This is a simple message we will output. Okay, now it's time to test um, this simple Java web application on our local Tomcat. See, this is a simple web application, so even if we don't test this on our local, this is definitely going to work on the AWS as well. But if you are developing a complex application, you should test it on your local machine before deploying on the remote server. I am building this. So if you see, I am in the server view, I don't have any local server, so I am going to create one local server over here. It will ask what application you would like to deploy on this, so I am adding our demo application. Yeah, okay, cool. So local, this is a local server. Now I am going to run this application on my local. Next, finish. See, um, this JSP is being served from AWS. We got it, the index.jsp content. So this is it. I'm stopping this server. Now it's time to deploy this web application on AWS itself. Okay. So before we deploy, what we have to do, we have to configure AWS. So we have to go to AWS console, and we have to give Eclipse the permission to deploy the web application on our behalf. Okay, so we are using AWS toolkit plugin over here in Eclipse. So that plugin is going to deploy that application on AWS. So we have to give that plugin permissions to interact with the AWS management console. So for that, what we have to do, we have to configure uh, the access keys. So for that, we have to go to the my security credentials over here, and if you see, there are access keys over here, and you have to generate the new access key over here. I already generated many access keys. So I am in the root account. Okay, I am not in any of the IAM user login. I am in the root account, and here we are going to generate the root account access keys, because uh, whenever you get this kind of keys, right, and you configure those keys in the Eclipse. So Eclipse plugin will need most of the permission of the EC2 and all that, right? So if you use the root account access keys, that account will have all the permissions, right? And if you are, but let's say if you are going to use your IAM user access keys over here, right, then you might have to grant some of the permissions manually. So rather than doing that, let's, for demo purpose, let's create the access keys over here for the root account, and let's configure. So I already created, so you have to create the new one. So make sure whenever you create it, right, like this, let me click, okay, so make sure you copy or download those access keys, because once this dialog box is closed, you won't be able to copy these secret keys. Okay, so make sure you copy or download the key file. So, and where to configure these access keys, like Eclipse preferences, you have to provide the access key and secret keys. So once you do that, let's create, it's time to create the server. So make sure you are in the Elastic Beanstalk console and note down this region. Okay, this is not Virginia. Okay, now we have to create a server over here. Elastic Beanstalk server. So whenever we have to deploy a application from Eclipse to AWS, like we created the local Tomcat, similarly we have to create a new server, which is the Elastic Beanstalk server. See, this is for Tomcat 8. Okay. So whenever we create a server over here using the Eclipse plugin, AWS plugin will create the server over here, and it will deploy our application on this server. So I am clicking next over here, and I am selecting the region US East, and the name will be sample web app. You can give any name if you want. Sample web app env. uh, I'm clicking next. Here there are some roles and all that, so keep it the default value. I don't need any of these settings. So it is asking which application you would like to deploy. I added our demo application. Okay, so this is it. Now we have to run this project, run as run on this server. So this time it will ask which server we want to use to run. So we already ran our project on this local server. Now it's time to run on Elastic Beanstalk server. Okay, so I'm clicking next and finish. It will give the version number, version label. So click OK. There is no need of that label right now. So it is, if you see, it is starting the server. So this will take few seconds or few minutes um, to create all the infrastructure. So whenever we first time we run our project on this Elastic Beanstalk server, what it will do, it will create the EC2 instance. It will install what it will make the JDK ready. It will make the Tomcat ready, and then it will deploy this application on that server. So all this process would take uh, some time, maybe a minute or two. You can definitely track the status of that. See over here, if you see, I think this is the web application we just created. So if I go into this, okay, so this web application is being created. See, it will show the status as well. So let's wait for a minute or two till it gets created. This will take a little bit of time. Okay, so if you see, it created the infrastructure for us. You can see all the events happen, like what has been created over here, uh, and Tomcat is ready. And I think yeah, in Eclipse also, if you see, it ran the application, it opened the browser using that URL also. So this is a URL. So if okay, and this URL you can also find over here. This one, this is a URL of our application. So our application is live now. So uh, the main thing to remember over here is, like, we created this project. See, if you try to create a project, we created this dynamic web project, and here if you have installed the AWS plugin, it will also do the AWS Java web project. So when you can also create this type of project, but this was giving a lot of errors to me. So, like, I'm not sure if there is a bug in the AWS plugin or what, but this was not working for me. So we created regular dynamic web project and we just deployed it. Like, similarly we are running on, like, our local. Similarly we ran on this project. So um, whenever you stop this server, right, so from Eclipse, this server is directly connected, linked to this remote server, this one, this Tomcat. Okay, so whenever you stop this server, let me stop it. Okay, it will stop this remote AWS server also. Okay, so this is not the ideal. See, the health is like going updating your environment. So this is not the ideal scenario to deploy the Java web application from the Eclipse. So what you can do, you can definitely develop your web application in Eclipse. You can test it on your local server, but you have to export the WAR file and then you have to deploy that WAR file over here. So there is an option, upload and deploy option. So you have to do it like that, because whenever you stop your Eclipse, right, this server, this server will be stopped. So that is not an ideal scenario. So that's it. Um, uh, Thanks for watching the video, and I'm